Okay, recording is started. Now today we are going to complete that exercise because we are going to uh, do the next steps based on that exercise only. So before need to proceed further, we need to complete that exercise. So what I'll do is I'll create this application. I have already started this business application studio. Now we'll complete that exercise. What is the next one after the place of birth? How many we have done? First name, last name, full name, age, place of birth, surname, date of birth, age. One, two. Okay, we didn't give the first name and last name, full name. After full name, surname is also there. Okay, we'll ignore that. Date of birth. Date of birth we didn't give. For date of birth, what we need to use? We need to use the for date of birth. Date of birth. For date of birth we need to use id. Sorry, we don't need to use input, we need to use a date picker. Okay, for that if you go to the SDK demo kit, there is one UI control called, I have already mentioned here, to use date picker. Okay, samples date picker. Okay, if you see here, this is the date picker, so we just need to use the date picker. Okay, this is the how we declare the date picker id. If you want to give already some default value, you can give. If you want to trigger any event while changing. Okay, so I'm just copying this and pasting it here. I don't have any value right now, so I'm removing. I don't want any class, so I'm removing. Okay, for date picker id we are replacing the id with id dob. It should be meaningful, so that's the reason I'm changing the date picker id. As we already know, for every UI element there has to be a, ID which should be always unique. Okay, date of birth next, followed by age is done. Now if you see the age input with only number, means this input should accept only number. So we there is one property which we can add to it, so that it will accept only numbers. So let's go to the input UI control in API reference SAP input. If you go to the properties, autocomplete, date format, description, field width, max length, selected key, show clear icon, value, true, suggestion, text format, type, input type. See, if you see the type text here, you can, if you give type as number, then it will accept only numbers. So we are going to use that property here. Type equal to, and the type is number. If you give this property, it will accept only the numbers. Okay, and after age we have place of birth, and next is gender. For gender you need to use radio button. Okay, label text is equal to gender. Okay, for radio button, if you go to the SDK, you have many samples for radio button. Radio button. Okay, you need to use radio button group, or you can use radio button directly. It's better to use radio button because if you use the radio button, all these uh, radio buttons comes under this groups, means you can select only either of them. But if you use this, you can use many other things. Okay, okay, but it's working. Okay, you can use either of them, but we'll use radio button group only. So in radio button group and radio button has the aggregation relation between them. Without radio button group, radio button can't exist. Okay, it can exist, but it's not independent of other. Okay, so I'm copying the radio button and I'm giving here. Okay, and the id for is id gender group, r group. okay, for indication radio button group, and we'll remove these three. And the first id male, id female, id others. Okay, first I'll give text as male, and the next is female, and third one is others. Okay, for the radio button, if you see, there is an option called enabled equal to false, which means you are not you are disabling it. So we don't want to disable it, so I'm removing this property. And editable is false, you can't edit that value, you can't select that value, so I'm removing this property as well. And if you see the columns, it is mentioning that it will be showing in three different columns like this. It is limited to only three columns. So if you have, by default it will show three buttons with two columns only. So I'll remove that columns, this thing. So now we are done. Let's preview the application once and then we proceed further. Now FLP. Okay, it's coming on the same line. So if we give the columns as three, then I think it will be showing on the next same line. Okay, and the next is gender is done, present address, permanent address. Okay, if you see, it's on the same line. So what I'll do is, next I'll give a label permanent perm, permanent address, permanent spelling is correct, permanent address. Okay, and we have here text. We'll give text area because the address will be very big, so that's the reason I'm giving text area. ID is IDP address. Okay, and after that what we'll give is, we'll give one checkbox. So I'm not giving any text, any label to it, but I'm giving here a checkbox. Checkbox. Okay, after that ID same as present. Okay, we'll give here present address. Okay, same as present address. Okay, after that again we'll give permanent address. Permanent address and perm address. Okay, let's see how it's look. Okay, here we got. So what I'll do is, I'll put the checkbox here. I think after checkbox we can give, if you see the property of checkbox, I think we can add some message to it automatically. Editable enabled name of the robot, for example HTML, not this one, selected text. Okay, you can give the text. So I'm giving, see, if you see here, it's giving here, but we don't want here, it should be after this checkbox. So what I'm giving is, a checkbox have some property called text, where you can give the text. So I'm copying this one, same as present address, and I'm removing this text. Okay, and the next one we have is country C. Okay, if you see here, it's showing here like this, but why there is a gap? Because we are using the radio button group, that's why. Okay, and the next one we have is label. What is country? Okay, label is country. Okay, and we need select or combo box. Okay, then you need to use in select, select. Here is the select. You need to start with tag called select. Okay, there is some error, we did something. Okay, select id equal to id country, id country, and that's it. Inside it we need to give the items. Okay, means in order to show the list in drop down, you need to show the items. For that you need to check in the aggregations. What are the aggregations? That is items. What is the core? It is belongs to core library. So with the, before doing that, we need to mention core. Okay, I think you need to mention items. Okay, let's see the example. Samples, select. Where is the select action? Select. See, here you have the list. For select, how they are declaring. After that, okay, you can directly use this property. Okay, just see, if you see this item belong to core library. What we have declared core xmlns is to core, so that's why they are using core there. So even we'll use that same like that. Why it is giving error? Core can't, didn't we declare core? Okay, we didn't declare core. So what we'll do is we'll declare the core library there. Okay, now we have declared the core library. What? Okay, I'll give the key as India and text as India. Okay, key will be IND. USA, USA, and UK, United Kingdom. Okay, now we are done. Let's see. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll build the form later, but before that we'll go to the next topic, because it will take more time building all the, say, complete this thing. Okay, layouts is done. Validating the user input, exercise on validations. See, once Vivek, once we have already done with the, you have already done the form, right? Then you need to focus on the validations. Okay, if you have the time, try to do this exercise. Okay, you put a
Yeah,
validation for mobile number, put a validation for email address. Okay, it's email address.
I mean we will try to only type na
Yeah, see, for mobile number you may have
type number
number to use, but for email address I think there you
is there.
don't
It
have
is
any.
there for
Okay,
email
then you
also.
can
Type
use.
midnight.
For pin code is
It
there.
is number.
When the user see, make some fields as mandatory. Whatever the fields that you feel, whatever the fields that you feel those are mandatory, just give a star. And when the user clicks on submit, try to give an error if the user didn't enter any value to it.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay. Okay.
and this is the exercise, second exercise, and we have come to the module 10 called message handling. Message handling means if you want to show some information, like if there is any, when the user clicks on submit, if you want to show the data has been saved successfully, or if there is any error that you are unable to reach the server, or there is some issue accessing the server, all those informational or success or errors, whatever messages that you want to display to the user, that is called as message handling. You can means it is the mechanism of displaying and managing the messages or notifications to the user. Okay, because whenever you are submitting, you has to the user has to see the response. You don't if one, suppose if you have clicked the submit button here and the user is not able to see the any message here, he's not aware of whether the data is saved or not, because he didn't see any success or error message on the screen. So when the user submits, or any interaction is done on the screen, you need to show some information. Okay, that you can that is called as message handling. So again, in the message handling, there are many different types of UI controls that we can use in for message handling purpose. Some of them are message strip. Message strip means it's like a ribbon where you can show your messages. Okay, I'll show what is message strip. Message strip. Okay, message strip is for showing the messages. See, this is a ribbon where you are showing the message. Means this I indicates information. Means it's not an warning or it's not an error. It's just information to the user. So based on the type of information that you want to use, you can show this icons. I means it's not a warning, it's not an error, or neither it's not a success. If you see this red icon, it means there is an error. This is the warning symbol, and this is the success symbol, and this is some more, this is the custom icons. This is a default icon. If you didn't mention anything on the icon, it will automatically takes this information icon. But if you want to use the custom icon also, you can use. Okay, this is one of the UI control where you can show messages to the user, and you have this close button here. When you click on it, it will automatically gets closed. Okay, like this you can use. But and the same thing, you have the another message manager. All these are UI controls. If you enter message manager here, you can see the three different examples. Basic messages, success. See, it will not show directly on the screen. It will store here, and when the user clicks on it, it will show. My gen means the one success message has been generated. If I click on error, it adds in the same. It automatically gets added into the same screen. When I'm clicking on error, if you see, the error is added, and it will grouping. One error message is there and one success message is there. So if I click the error message again, it gets add up here. Two error messages are there and one success message is there. Like you have the warning, info, value state, and when you click on clear, all error messages or whatever, all the messages will be cleared. Like this, you have many different types of message handling UI controls. The one is message popover. You can explore all these things, but right now I am going to explain you about the message box. Message box is one of the most important UI control which will use frequently when you are going to display any error to the user. Okay, this is the message box. This is the message box. This is not the message box. When you click on the confirm, see, this is the message box. It's asking approve purchase order 12345. If you click OK, means on OK you need to write some event. If you cancel, it will automatically gets closed. And this is the alert, means it is giving alert before proceeding further to the user. Suppose you have clicked the submit button, and it will ask, do you really want to proceed further? Like sometimes it will ask like that, right? When you are filling any form, means it's giving you an alert. This is the alert message. All these are the message box only. In that message boxes again you have the different types of uh, um, types of types, again you can call that also types as well. Okay, you have these different types of information, show, success, warning. Okay, message toast, this is also one type of message that we can show to the user using toast. If you but it doesn't have any you can't display whether it is an error or it's just a message. See, if you click on this, see it automatically shows like this on the screen. It we are not displaying whether it is a error or, and there is no okay button, it's automatically gets closed. uh, but whereas in message box, based on the user event only, it gets closed. Okay, but here message toast is not like that. It's automatically comes up and closes. It will not ask for the user to close it. Okay, and
Harish,
illustrated message. Yeah, Rajiv.
Harish,
Hmm.
this message box it's on save event we can use, or at a certain field level we can use a message box.
Yeah, you can see, you can use at any level. We'll see the examples. Okay, I'll show this
Okay.
demonstration. Okay, illustrated message. Actually we have used this illustrated message. Rajiv and Vivek, can you do you remember where we have used this illustrated message? Can you remember and tell me?
Yeah, I can remember.
Okay,
The
where we have used.
not found page.
Yes, for not found page in routing and navigation concept, we have used this illustrated message. So we already know illustrated message and invisible message. Again, this is also one type of message UI control. Okay, now we are going to see the message types. Okay, the most commonly we use is message box and message toast. So I am going to show the demonstration both for both of them. Okay, so first we'll see the message toast, which is very simpler one, and then we'll switch to the message box. Okay, and we have this form already. When the user submits on press, what you need to do is you need to check the mandatory fields. If there are correctly filled and there is no error, then you need to submit all these details to, where we need to submit all these details to. Can anyone tell?
Database.
Yes, we need to send this data to the server in order to save in the backend tables, right? Okay. Now am when you click on submit press, first you need to check whether the data is filled correctly, then you need to submit this data to the server. So let us assume we have already did some validations. Let us open main.controller. What we are doing, we are checking if and else. Okay, so we'll remove these things. Okay, we are just for learning, we have added those three lines. First, what we are doing, we are checking the two mandatory fields which are mandatory. Okay, these two fields are mandatory. We are checking whether this data is mandatory or not. Okay, then if it's mandatory, then we need to proceed and submit. Okay, so how can we know this gets executed and this gets executed? How can we know whether there is an error and then we need to do it? Okay, so what I'll do is I'll declare a variable called flag. By default we are setting it to true. Okay, I'm setting the flag to true. If there is any error, where it goes in if there is an error, it goes to here. Okay, then we are setting the flag to false. Okay, I did something wrong here because I'm giving the double quotes for boolean, which is not required. Okay, otherwise it will treat it as a string, but we don't want string here. We are making the flag as false. Okay, if there is any error. Okay, if the user is not filling this, the flag will become false. else it will be true. Okay, same here we are doing. Okay, if there is any no last name entered by the user, then we are making the flag as false. Okay, once it is done, what we are going to check, if the flag double triple equal to true, then what we are doing, we are submitting the data to the server. Okay, submitting the data to the server. You can write the comments by using two double slashes. Okay, you need to use two double slashes. If you use single, it will give you error like this. You need to use double slashes if you want to declare, if you want to write a comment. Let us assume we have written here submitting code to the server. Okay, now we'll let us assume we have saved the data successfully. Then what you need to show, you need to show the success message to the error saying that your data is submitted successfully. For that we can use message box or message toast. Okay, first we'll see message toast. Okay, message toast, if you see which library it belongs to, sap.m.message toast. Okay, we have declared the sap.library in view, but we haven't declared that sap.m in controller. So what I'll do is I'll declare this library. Okay, where I'll declare how they have declared the controller, same thing I'll do for message box. You need to replace the dot switch slashes. Okay, sap by m by message toast, and you need to pass the message toast here. Okay, and you need to use that message toast here. Mess Okay, message toast dot, what you need to show, message dot message. Okay, message toast dot show, and in the brackets you need to give your message show data saved successfully. Okay, now we are going to check. Now I am didn't entering anything. What it will do, it will go to this else, it will set the flag to false. It will also go to this else, it will set the flag to false. If the flag is true, then only it will go to this else condition. So now the flag is false, so it will not go to this, so this message will not be displayed to us. So I am submitting it. Did you see any message? We didn't see any message because there is an error, Harish Kumar. Okay, now I'm submitting. See, data saved successfully. Okay, like this we need to do. But so now we have seen the message toast. Now we'll see what is message box, how we can write code for message box. Okay, if you go to API reference, you have everything already available. Okay, you just need to copy and paste. Okay, if you go down, first we'll write success message. Okay, this is the success message, sap.m. Again, if you see sap.m message box, we haven't declared, we have declared message toast, but we haven't declared the message box. So first we'll declare the message box. You can directly use sap.m message box in your code, but the best way to do is you need to declare the libraries first. Okay, I am declaring a library here. I need to replace the dots with slash, and then I need to pass that message box into the function, into the controller function. Okay, I'm passing the message box here. Okay, so that you can use your message box here. So right now I'm commenting this one, so I will use the message box here. We have already some code here. Okay, you can use the samples as well. Message box. Okay, what we are going to display, we are going to display the success function. See, project is created and it's assigned to team B. So message box dot success. Okay, message box dot success. Success. And in this you need to mention what is your message. um, Data saved successfully. Okay, okay, now I'm entering any value. Now I'm entering submit. See, data saved successfully, and you have the success message here. If you want to customize this message, that also you can do. Okay, see here message box error, and in the actions if you want to add any custom actions, you can also add emphasized action, manage products, on close. Okay, message box dot warning title, you can give anything. If you go to the this thing, and if you want to add any, if you see the success here, title we have, we are giving already success. So if you want to add any additional properties to it, then what you need to do is, after this you need to open this two flower brackets, and before that you need to put comma, and then you need to add your additional properties. I don't want to display the success. I want to, what I want to display, I want to display the title as response. Okay, that is response. Okay, the title is response. Okay, and I want, if you want to add any new actions, text directions, okay, all these things you can add. But right now I'm adding only one thing called title is response. You don't need double quotes for title, so I'm removing. Let us see it will work or not. When I'm submitting it, it will give you an error when I enter submit. See response, data saved successfully. Okay, now next we have is alert. First we'll see what is alert. Alert, see again you have the alert. About alert, where is alert? See, this is the alert. Alert means it will give you an alert. What you need to do is just you need to change the action, that's it. Here you have the success. If you give the alert, it will, it will give you alert message. Means based on the type of information that you want to show to the user, you can do that. Okay, now I'm submitting. See, data is saved successfully, means it is just giving an alert. If you want to add some custom function, you can add here. Okay, um and the next one we have is confirm. Confirm means you can ask the confirmation, do you really want to submit? That is the confirm meaning. Okay, if you see the confirm, this message should appear in the confirmation. Title is confirmed. You just need to make here new property called confirm. Okay, um error, so we'll see this error. This is also one of the important one, so I'm giving error here, 404 error. Okay, the user has filled everything, and when he's submitting, it's giving 404 error, means it is unable to reach the server. Okay, and the information show success warning. We'll see what is warning as well. Warning. Okay, so what will give warning is data is inappropriate. Inappropriate data may not be saved. Okay. Okay, see, if you see this warning symbol like this, you can use. But if you want to add the custom functions, see, there should be a one more option. Suppose if you want to proceed when the user clicks OK, but if he don't want to proceed, you want a cancel button here, that also you can do. Okay, that we have the already example here in samples message box. And if you see the error with custom action, you have one more property added here and followed by close. Okay, we'll see this one, custom action, sorry, controller message box error. Okay, see here it is an error, and in the actions he is messaging, he's providing manage products is the button, and another button, and another button is close button. And in the emphasized action he's maintaining, means he wants that button to be emphasized. Emphasized means it will be like this in a bluish format. And on close he want to display, if you want to write any function, you can write fun function here. Okay, now I'm copying this whole thing and pasting it here. Okay, now suppose we want to let us assume we are using conform. Okay, and we are asking the user, do you really want to proceed? Do you really want to proceed? Okay, we are asking him a question, do you really want to submit? Okay, then we are asking yes button, else we can give the cancel. And in what is the name of the button that we going to give? Emphasized action, yes. And on close we are displaying, so we'll display that uh, you have clicked, you have cancelled the action, you have cancelled. Okay, let it be like this. Okay, now I'm entering one value here and I'm submitting it. It's asking, do you really want to proceed? When I click S, you need to write another function. When I click close, it automatically gets closed, and it's displaying a message called you have cancelled. Okay, I hope you understand how we are handling the messages. Rajiv and Vivek, do you have any doubts at this point?
Yeah, yeah, it's clear for me.
Okay, different kinds of models. Okay, as we have already seen, already learned what are the different types of data that we have: JSON model, OData model, and resource model. We already have the XML model as well, but we won't use the XML model. SAP UI5 suggests you use the JSON model only. Okay, JSON model is as the name it suggests, that the data is in which format? In a JSON format. Okay, OData model is a server side model, and when based on the type of uh, type of data, like if you give a type equal to JSON, then it will give the data in a JSON format, otherwise it will give in XML model. Okay, XML format. Okay, and the resource model is used for internationalization. If we want to convert our text to the local language, that can be done by using resource model. But right now we'll define the JSON model, and we'll bind okay, right now what we'll do is we'll create a JSON model. Okay, we are what we'll do is we'll create some as we don't have the backend connection, what we'll start some basic, we'll create one JSON basic model. Okay, where that we'll do, we have one model folder here. In model we are going to declare, create a new file called data.json. Okay, this is not a model, we are just declaring the JSON values. Okay, first in we'll just take an example of our form only. Okay, first name is there. So what we'll do is, suppose when you log in, let us assume we are creating a registration form, by when you are paying, the risk. Suppose you didn't register but you have paid the fees for your course. But you want some data to be filled, some data will be filled automatically by the admin, but you need, if you want to change, you have given this registration form. So what happens is, when you load the application for the first time, the data that is already filled will be appeared on the data that is filled by the admin will be automatically appeared in your, or appears in your registration form. So what you need to do is, if you want to change, you can change. So for this form, we are creating a local JSON model. Okay, so I am creating a local JSON. So first name. Okay, what is the first name? You can give anything. First name, last name, and full name. Okay, these are all. Now what we are creating actually, can anyone tell what is this, what is this structure looks like? It's an array or a object?
It's an object.
Okay, because it's holding only one record. Okay, if there is a multiple objects in an array, then it is called as array. Date of birth, age, DOB, date of birth, 29 3 1986. Okay, what is next? Keeps on loading. So what I'll do is, I'll close this. Age is 32. Okay, even if we are not doing, it's getting. Place of birth, place of birth, Hyderabad. What's next? Gender, gender, male. Next, present address, house number 3 dash 2 dash 144 by 1. Okay, Malakpet, Hyderabad, 2029. Okay, and see, for this is the same as present add. Okay, so we'll give yes here. And what is permanent add? Okay, perm add. Okay, we'll give the same address. Okay, permanent address. So, country, country, and the country is India, IND. Okay, till now it's good. So we have all this data is already filled by the admin, and when the user logs in, by default we need to show that data to the user. Okay, for that, what needs to be done, we need to create a connection between the our JSON and our view, that is called as the concept called binding. Okay, binding is a crucial concept that enables the synchronization of data between the user and interface controls and the underlying models. It establishes a connection between the properties of control and corresponding the data values. Okay, um, whenever you change something on the screen, suppose we'll display that data here, and whenever you change the value something, it will automatically reflects that automatically gets changed here. It will not change, it will not rewrite these values, but it changes the values at runtime. Okay, so now what, there are different types of bindings. Okay, binding means we are connecting our data to the UI controls, okay, such that the user can see this data. Okay, various types of bindings.
Harish,
Yeah,
Harish, you are saying the data model you designed on JSON format, you
yeah,
are entering in the backend and you are showing in the front end
yeah, let us
what
be
has been
see.
admin by the admin. Is it like that?
No,
I mean,
see,
I'm a bit
let us
confused on data
assume,
binding.
let us assume this is the data that is there in the backend, which is filled by
Okay.
admin.
Okay.
Okay, and now when the use now they have given you a link to the registration form, which is this one. Okay, now what they
Okay.
are saying is that we have filled some data by default. If you want to change, please change. That is the requirement we have now. So what you are doing is, when you are opening the application, let us assume this is the data coming from the backend, and it will automatically gets displayed here. If you want to change anything, or if you feels like the data is okay, then you can simply press and submit. Okay, that's the
Okay.
functionality that we are looking for now. Okay, you understood
So
now?
it's a bidirectional effect, correct?
Yes. What do you mean by bidirectional?
Two way. One, you are hosting the data in the front end, and from the front end when you modify it, you are updating data in the backend runtime.
Yeah, backend, we are updating the backend runtime, but we don't have the backend now. So meanwhile we'll just submit, and let us assume that it's submitted. Okay,
Yep.
okay, so now we need to create a connection between this JSON and this UI controls. Okay, that is the concept called binding. Okay, in again binding we have uh, four different types of bindings. Okay, that is property binding, aggregation binding, element binding, and expression binding. Expression binding, this is not uh, no, actually very less people knows about this expression binding, but this is the most important question that you might get asked in your interview. Okay, they'll ask what is expression binding. When they ask about what are the different types of bindings, what people say is only these three. They'll not tell about this one, because no one knows about this expression binding. They'll ask why you have missed this expression binding, and they'll keep on asking the questions about expression binding. So that's the reason I have given about this expression binding as well in this one. Okay, now we'll see what is property binding. Okay, um, so with the help of property, like on init function, you need to get the data and you need to display. Okay, uh, so what you need to do, you need to get that this dot get view dot by id. Okay, what is the id of it? Wait, where is the view? This is the view. Okay, and we have this id. What is the id of first name? Id f name. Okay, you need to give f name here, and you need to set value. Okay, when you are setting like this, you are also binding some data to the UI element. This is also called binding. Okay, and we like this also, you can also using do using get set property. Get view by, okay, first we'll see if you are able to see some value on the first name or not. Okay, you're able to see because we have set some value first name as Harish. Okay, and like you can also bind the data like this as well, get by id, and you need to give here id f name dot set property. Okay, set property, and what is the value, what is which property you want to set for this UI element? We are setting the value. Okay, for input we have one property called value where you need to set that text to that value. Okay, so here you need to give value. Okay, and after comma you need to give what you want to add. Okay, so I am commenting this. What we are doing, we are getting the property, we are setting the property value, and its value is Harish. Let us see if you are able to see the value Harish. Maybe there is an error. See, there is an error. Okay, maybe I need to use this slash, not this. This is the correct one. Input. See, if you get any errors like this, you need to check. You can check in the SDK. Okay, I'll tell you about this later. There might be some error in the this thing that we have written, but I don't see any error here. Set property. Here what we are doing, this dot get view by id f name dot set property, and the value is, yeah, it's correct only. Get view dot by id dot set property value equal to Harish. Maybe it's capital. Okay, okay, let it be. I'll tell you about this later. Okay, this two types is called property binding. Okay, and the aggregation binding. Aggregation binding means, suppose if you go to the data.json, how many records you have here? We have only one record. If you are binding one record to the particular UI control, if you are binding the data only a particular record to that UI control, that is called as element binding. Okay, but what is aggregation binding? Suppose if you have more than one records and you want to bind to a UI control. Suppose, see, I'm see here you have the registration form. Registration form means you have here only one user, one user. So only one user data we can display here. What if there are two users and there are made a team, and we want to show two users detail here? How we can show? Instead of simple form, what we can use? Okay, we are simply using the simple form because there is only one record, because we want to display only one record. What if you want to display more than one record? Which UI control we can use? Can anyone tell, Rajiv and Vivek?
Base controller.
Base controller. Is it a UI element? UI control?
Select, select you can use
Not
multiple.
select. Okay. Yours. See, we have one UI control called table.
Okay.
Grid table and responsive table are the two main tables we frequently use. See here, if you can show multiple details. For the user 1, you can show it as a one record. For the user 2, you can show it as another record. If you have more than 10 users also, that also you can show. That is with the help of table. Okay, the control is called table. Okay. Oh, okay, that is table. If you are binding the data, if you have only one record and you want to bind that data to the UI controls, then it is called as element binding. If you have more than one record and you want to bind that data to the UI control, then it is called as aggregation binding. Okay. If you are getting an array from the backend and you want to bind the data to the UI control, then it is called as aggregation binding. If you are receiving only one record, that means only one object from the backend, and you want to bind that data to the control, that can be done by using element binding. Okay. Expression binding is nothing but, suppose if you are declaring, suppose you are getting gender from the backend, like you are getting male or female. Suppose the user is a male or female that you are getting from the backend. So now using the expression binding, you want to put the Mr. and Mrs. Suppose if, by default, if you add the Mr., if the user is female, then it is not good to display like that. Suppose then based on the gender that if you want to show the Mr. or Mrs., that you can achieve by using expression binding. So in expression binding, you can put the conditions like, if the gender is female, use Miss. If the gender is M, then we'll ask it to use Mr. Okay, that conditions you can give expression in expression binding. We'll see all these things practically. Okay, now we are using the form. Okay, now we want to bind the data to this registration form. May I know which type of binding that we can use, Rajiv and Vivek? I have explained all the four different types of binding. Now you tell me which two bindings we can use actually. What are all those two
Property
bindings?
binding and element binding.
Yeah, you're right. Who said this?
Vivek.
Vivek?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yes, because aggregation binding is for more than one record, and the expression binding is for formatting the data. And the rest that we have is property binding, we have already seen. And element binding is for one record we need to use element binding. So now we'll use the element binding. Okay, so we can also use the property binding, but if you have these many controls, for every control you need to get that id and bind the value, get this id and bind the value, uh, which is very lengthy process, and it's not good to use like that. So we'll go with the element binding. So before going to the element binding, first we need to get the data from the folder. Which folder? Data.json folder. So before that we need to create a JSON model. Okay, first what we need to do is we should create a JSON model. Okay, where it is, types of models. Yeah, before that we need to create a JSON model, and we need to put that JSON data into this model, and then we need to bind this JSON model to the view. Okay, these are the three steps that we need to follow. For what is the first step? You need to declare a JSON model. We'll do that. Okay. Okay. And see, if you don't know how to declare the JSON model, you can simply type here in the API reference, just simply type JSON model. Okay, sorry, JSON model. See, this is inside SAP UI model JSON library. So this is the library. Okay, you need to declare this first. How we can declare? You need to declare here. Okay, you need to replace the dots with slash. Okay, and JSON model you need to pass into the function. Now we have declared the JSON model. Sorry, now we have declared the JSON model library, and now we need to declare a JSON model. How we can declare any data type in JavaScript using var? So I'm using var and I'm creating a JSON model. What we can call that model name as o reg model, means registration form model. So now I am creating a JSON model. So new JSON model. Okay. Now from where we want to load the data? We want to load the data from model folder. Inside model folder you have this data.json. Okay. So there is one uh, there is one uh, method called load data. Okay, and in these two brackets you need to give the address of that folder. Okay, right now we are inside the controller. First you need to uh, get out of this folder. Okay, you need to come out of this folder, and then you need to search in then you need to go to model, and then you need to go to data.json. So in order to come out of this folder, you need to use two dots. Okay, if you give these two dots, you will come out of from main controller and you will go to the controller folder. Okay, which means you are inside the web app folder. Okay, inside the web app folder, where is this model, where is this folder, which folder it is? Model. Okay, then you need to give slash and you need to give the name of the folder called model. Okay, and followed by which folder it is? Data.json. Okay, now I am here putting data.json. Okay, see, now we have loaded the data into the JSON model. Now we want to set this data to the view. How we can do? Means we need to get that view and we need to set this model to the view. For that we need to use this dot get view. Okay, we got the view. We are setting this model to the view. So we need to use set model. Which model we are setting? What is the name of that model? Reg model. Okay, or registration model. And after putting comma, you need to give one alias to it. What is the alias? Means it is another name. Okay, I am creating it, I am giving as again I am giving same name. Not same, you can give same name also, but there is no other no need, right? Instead of, so let it be, I'm giving the same name or reg model. Okay, now we have created the connection from now we have got the data into this oreg model, and now we need to bind this oreg model to the view. We have created the connection, but we need to bind the data. Okay, see, if you say for the input we have this property called value. Okay, in this value we need to map, we need to do the mapping. Okay, like this, you need to put these two flower braces, and inside it you need to give your model name. And if you open the data.json, what is the first name? Okay, after putting the your model name, then you need to put this greater than and followed by slash, then you need to give your first name, your property name. Like this you need to give all these to like this you need to bind the values to all the UI controls. Now I am giving value. Okay, so then you need to add last name. Okay, so first I'll paste everywhere this thing. See, for radio button there will be another property. It will not be the value. We'll see that for text area again it's the value. For checkbox again select again it have a different property. We'll see value. For select also it's a different property. Okay, so first we'll bind full name. What is full name? Full name, the property is full name. And date of birth, dob, date of birth dob. What is age? Age itself is age. What? Okay, I'm giving removing this because it accepts only number. Place of birth, place of birth is this. And what is present address? Place of birth, present address. Okay, and what is permanent address? This is the property for permanent address. Okay, now let us see that, let us run the application and see whether the data is getting populated or not. See, the data is coming, right? But again we didn't binded the data for gender. We didn't bind the data for this, whether means it is coming same as here and here, so it should be checked. And the countries by default it's automatically getting selected India, but it's not we don't know whether it's an Indian or India or not because we haven't done the mapping. So first we'll do for gender. What is the type of UI control that we are using for the gender? It's a radio button group. So in radio button we need to search the property if there is any property. So radio button group property is columns editable enabled selected index, not selected index width. Select index determine the selected if no radio button selection. No. Okay, let's see radio button properties selected equal to false. Okay, how we can bind to a radio button selected? See, again you need to use the expression binding here. I think selected key we can give radio button. Logged PC editable enabled group name selected, specify the select state of radio button text direction value state visible width. Okay, let it ignore this one. I'll tell about this tomorrow. But for same as present address, what from the data what we are getting, it says S means the checkbox should be checked. So for let us check for the select checkbox if you have any property checkbox. Properties, busy active, okay, display only readable enabled, name partially selected, okay. By default the selected is false. When if you want to put as S, okay, uh, suppose you are getting as yes here, so if it is S then you need to make it as true. How we can bind this S here, S to the checkbox? How we can do that? What is the binding that we can use here? We are not receiving the true from the backend, we are getting S. So if it is S, we need to tell it that, yeah, if from the backend if it is coming as S, then treat it as true, else treat it as false. We are saying that we want to say that to the checkbox with the help of binding. What binding we can use?
Expression binding.
Yes, we can use expression binding. Okay, using expression binding, we can specify a condition, and we can tell that if it is S, use true. If it is false, use. If it is false, sorry, if it is no, use as false. Okay, what is the property we have selected? Okay, selected, okay, and in this I'm mentioning two flower brackets, and if whenever you want to start the expression binding, you need to start equal to followed by this dollar symbol, and then you need to give your property. What is the property of same idea as present? What is the first, our model name? This is our model name, and then followed by what is the property name is same as present address. So this is the property. So what we are doing here, if we are checking if it's triple equal to S or not. Okay, if it is S, then what we are asking, it's a ternary operator. If you have the knowledge about how the ternary operator works, if this condition is true, it will execute the first. See, you have the two conditions here. We'll mention the two. Means if the if condition is executed, this will execute, else it will go to this part. If it is S, then what we need to do, you need to make it as true, because it's an because it's an boolean, so I removed the double quotes. So else it will be false. Okay, now we are good. Let's see whether the checkbox get checked or not. It should be checked, but let's see how it's behaving. It's not checked, so I think we did something wrong here. So we have opened, we are we have opened here, but we are closing at the end. We need to close here because the binding is ending there. Okay, see, it's checked. Okay, now for the country, the country that is coming is IND. Okay, here is the IND. So we have one property called selected key. Selected key is in the backend will not store the entire name. We'll share it in a short form called IND or USA, that is called as key. Okay, but for the user, in order to understand them clearly, we are giving a text. So but now for the backend, from the backend we are getting ind. So we this is the property called selected key, where we'll bind that key. Okay, and what is the property, that is country. Okay, see, now it is the value is binded India, but previously also India. So what I'll do is I'll change the country here. USA. Okay, see, it's USA. um y- at this point we have completed the bindings as well. Various types of bindings we have seen. In the tomorrow's class we'll see how we are going to pass the data from one view to another view, as we have already seen how to create, how to navigate from one view to another, and we have seen the pass, and we have also seen how to pass the data from one view to another view. But in the next class we are going to see how to pass the data using JSON model. Okay. um, we'll stop the class at this point. Now, Vivek, I want to tell you, I want to tell you to design the layout in a very clearly. See, because your layout is not looking user friendly. So what I ask you to do is, if you go to the example in samples called simple form. See, they have segregated their. This is the first example. If you see the two groups or three groups, see how not see how they are segregated. Two groups using column layout. Yeah. See, here they have segregated their data like this. See,
Yeah.
now
Okay.
you in your application it
Okay.
has only one column, but here you have two columns. So what you do is you will group some fields. You can Rajiv, you can also try this, because I am giving this exercise to Vivek because he has completed some part of the exercise. So what you can do is you can add some personal fields, personal information into what you do is to where is two groups. See, here it's an office, here it's an online. What you can do is you can group some values. You can make it as a personal details, and you can ask all, you can put all the name, full name, all these under this group. And again you can create a new group called address, where you can ask all the address details like this. Based on your knowledge, group those values, group those fields, and try to make the screen user friendly. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
And try to add those validations as well. Rajiv, did you create any layout or any form?
No, Arish, actually.
Okay.
I didn't create
Yeah,
actually.
yeah,
I'm busy with the enterprise architecture team having some project questions. I'm busy on that work.
okay, okay, no issue, no
Yeah.
issue. Means
I have a question, Arish,
yeah,
on the
you can
data
ask me.
binding. So
Okay.
you have set the data structure JSON format, data
Yes.
dot JSON to so you said because in absence of backend server system, you created your own model
Huh.
registration form.
See,
Correct.
because we don't have the connection to the backend, you want to
Correct.
means we have to
Correct.
learn about the how to use the local data as well. Now we have the
Correct.
server, but let it be. We'll use the server whenever there is a need. Okay,
Hmm.
but right now I'm using the local model from local data, and we are declaring a JSON model, and we are
Yeah.
loading that JSON model into the JSON data into the JSON model, and then we are setting that model to the view, and with the help
Yeah.
of element binding we are binding that values to the view.
Yeah. So
And
so
Vivek,
in the
you can
view, yeah.
also do this binding as well by creating your own JSON model. You can
Okay.
also do this thing. Okay, you can follow the recording and you can try. Tell me,
Yeah.
Raj, you are telling something.
So to get the property value of the data, so
Hmm.
we are setting the properties in the view screen, main view screen, to
Yeah,
do the data binding.
see, you have this first name, right?
Correct data.
And
Correct.
for the first input you have this id as first name. How we
Correct.
have set the model to the view, but how it knows that first name
Correct.
automatically should point to this thing. So that's the reason we
Correct.
are just matching.
Yes. Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
based on the
So
binding,
yeah.
it searches this JSON, and it's bind the first, because here given your, we have given here first name, it matches and it will bind. Okay.
Clear. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have
Harish.
any doubts, Vivek?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, can you provide the interview questions? I will start preparing from now.
Okay. I'll send you. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I don't have right now actually. I'll
Okay.
send you. Okay. Have you filled the attendance yesterday?
Yeah, I have filled it.
Okay. Uh,
Yes, I need to email you. Harish.
no, don't email. It's just saved.
Okay.
It's a
Okay.
SharePoint folder. You just need to update and put it and leave it like that. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
See you.
Bye
Thank
bye.
you. Bye.
Thank you, Rajiv, Vivek. Bye.